Once upon a time in the kingdom of Everwood, where the trees whispered secrets and the rivers sang melodies, lived a young boy named Finnley. Finnley was no ordinary boy. He had a heart full of dreams and eyes that sparkled like the morning sun. He lived with his grandmother in a cozy cottage at the edge of the enchanted forest. Every evening, she would tell him stories about the lost treasure hidden deep within the forest, guarded by magical creatures and powerful spells. Finnley, being an adventurous soul, longed to embark on a journey to find this treasure. One morning, as the first golden rays of the sun kissed the earth, Finnley packed a small bag with bread, cheese, and a flask of water. He tied his red scarf around his neck, waved goodbye to his grandmother, and stepped into the mysterious forest. The trees stood tall like ancient guardians, their leaves rustling with excitement, as if whispering to one another about the boy's arrival. The air smelled of damp earth and blooming flowers, and the sound of chirping birds filled the silence. As he walked deeper into the woods, he met a squirrel with a bushy tail and curious eye. "Where are you going, young traveler?" the squirrel asked. Finnley smiled and said, "I'm searching for the lost treasure of Everwood." The squirrel twitched its nose. "A brave quest indeed, but beware of the shadow vine, for it traps those who dare seek the treasure." Finnley nodded, thanking the squirrel for the warning, and continued his journey. The deeper he went, the darker the forest, cartoon peak, became, the trees growing so close together that only slivers of sunlight could pierce through. Suddenly, he heard a soft cry. Following the sound, he found a tiny bluebird with a broken wing. Carefully, he scooped up the bird and wrapped it in his scarf. "Fear not, little one. I will help you," he said gently. The bluebird chirped weakly, its eyes filled with gratitude. Carrying the bird close to his chest, Finnley continued his journey until he reached a glimmering pond. The water was as clear as glass, reflecting the sky like a perfect mirror. As he knelt to take a sip, a voice echoed, "Only those with kindness in their hearts may pass." Finnley looked around and saw a shimmering figure rise from the water, a water spirit with flowing hair and eyes like liquid silver. "I seek the lost treasure," Finnley said. The water spirit gazed at him, then at the injured bluebird in his arm. "You have shown kindness to the weak," she said, touching the bird's wing. A soft glow surrounded it, and the bird flapped its wings, chirping joyfully as it flew into the sky. "You may pass," the water spirit declared, pointing to a hidden path behind a waterfall. Finnley thanked her and stepped through the cascading water, finding himself in a meadow filled with glowing flowers. Fireflies danced around him, lighting his path as he moved forward. Suddenly, he heard a low growl. Turning around, he saw a creature covered in vines and shadows, its glowing red eyes fixed on him, the dreaded shadow vine. "You shall not take the treasure," it hissed. Finnley's heart pounded, but he stood his ground. "I do not seek the treasure for greed, but for knowledge, and to protect it from those who would misuse it." The shadow vine slithered closer, its vine reaching out. Finnley remembered the water spirit's words, kindness. Taking a deep breath, he held out his hand. "You were once a guardian, weren't you?" The creature hesitated, its red eyes flickering. "I was, but I was forgotten," it whispered. Finnley stepped close. "You are not forgotten. You still protect this place." The shadow vine trembled, its dark vines retreating as it transformed into an old, wise guardian. "Thank you for reminding me of my purpose," the guardian said, stepping aside to reveal an ancient stone chest covered in golden runes. Finnley approached and slowly lifted the lid. Inside, there was no gold or jewels, only a single book. The Book of Everwood. He opened it, and golden letters shimmered across the pages, telling stories of the land, its magic, and the importance of kindness and courage. Finnley realized that the true treasure was knowledge, a gift far greater than gold. As he closed the book, the guardian smiled. "You are now the keeper of Everwood's wisdom." With the book in his hands and a heart full of joy, Finnley made his way back home. The trees whispered his tale, the river sang his praise, and as he stepped out of the forest, the bluebird he had saved flew above him, chirping a song of gratitude. When he reached his grandmother's cottage, she welcomed him with a warm embrace. "You have found the greatest treasure of all," she said, her eyes shining with pride. From that day on, Finnley shared the stories of Everwood with all who would listen, ensuring that kindness, courage, and wisdom would never be forgotten. And so, the legend of Finnley, the keeper of Everwood, lived on for generations to come.